How's everyone doing? Hopefully you are doing well. I want to share with you today 5 self-care practices you can start practicing today. Now, if you're not aware of what a self-practice is, let's start there. Self-practice just really means that you are giving yourself space. You're giving yourself space to feel better, to address certain thoughts and feelings, to maybe even address certain physical symptoms that you're going through, like muscle tension, maybe a headache. And these self-care practices, at least from my end, I want to encourage you to consider them as a lifestyle practice. So instead of us saying, let's say that we're going to eat healthy just once a month, that may not go as far as eating healthy more days than not. So when it comes to your self-care practices, I think it's important for us to really just take a step back and say, okay, how can I allow these practices to become a lifestyle versus a fad diet? First one I want to share with you is music. Now, music is a fantastic exercise because most of us, to some degree, like sound. And music doesn't have to be that you're listening to a rock station or old school hip hop. It could be that you're listening to nature. It could be that you're listening to rain drops in the background. Nowadays you could find that on Amazon Music or Pandora. Wherever you listen to music. My encouragement there will be when you look at music as self-care. I really want you to think about, what's the purpose here? Is it to build calmness? Is it to bring you maybe less worry? Is it to support with sleep? So once you identify what's the purpose of this music playlist, then jump into what the actual songs are going to be. For me, I like to have a playlist that is all about calmness. And I try to listen to it at least 4, maybe 5 times a week. And it's just a pretty chilled song. Got some Bob Marley on there. But what it does is it allows me to just ground myself in the center. So now you know that I like Bob Marley. Next self-care strategy I want to share with you. And this one, again, it's a very simple one. It's just sometimes we forget to do it because we're so busy. Drinking water. Yes, right, super simple. Now, really think about it. Is this something that you're doing every single day? Sometimes we forget, right? We may do a soda here and there. We may do some good old Southern sweet tea because I am in the South. But I want to encourage you to have some kind of water bottle with you. Typically I have mine. It's right here. And, it's a big one, right? It's like 40 ounces, I think this thing holds of water. And I carry that. I try to carry that everywhere I go. And I do that, just get a giant one. That's what I do, because it removes that need to go fill it up over and over. That could just me being lazy, but it works for me. So that's an idea there. So that's 2 self-care practices so far. The third one is allow yourself to develop consistency when it comes to your sleep, meaning that you're going to bed around the same time. That's really going to support your circadian rhythm. That's going to support your mood. And see, sometimes we forget that sleep is not just sleep. Sleep goes a long way. It allows you to wake up around the same time. It allows your mood to be regulated, right? So if someone's sharing with you, do you want a stable mood? Most of us are going to say, yes, I want a stable mood. Well, the next step they're going to share with you is, let's get that sleep under control, right? Let's get that sleep, where it should be, if you will. Now, that self-care practice, what I want you to think about is maybe logging your sleep. Get a journal. And in the journal, write down during the whole week what time you're going to bed, what time you're waking up, and then do your best to maintain consistency. And then as you're doing that, evaluate what's happening. Evaluate if you're feeling better, if your mood is regulated, maybe less worry thoughts during the day, or less tired spells take place around that, early afternoon time. So we got 3 so far. Next strategy for self-care I want you to look at is writing a letter to your future self. This is a beautiful, wonderful exercise. A lot of times we have, or most of the time, right, we have our inner voice, which can be a very wonderful one, or it could be a loud, nasty, gremlin voice that's really just self-defeating, self-sabotaging. We really want to just say, hey, get out of here. Get out of here, voice. But it may stick around. So this exercise of self-care is wonderful. I really enjoy it. And all you need is some paper, or you could type it up if you want to. What you're doing is you're writing a letter to your future self. What do you want to say to this future self? How much love do you want to pour into that person? How much kindness, how much praise, gratitude, all of those wonderful words that we are all deserving of hearing. You can give that to your future self. And it's not a silly exercise. It's not. It's one that grounds you. It allows you to focus on the present moment. And then it feeds you nourishment. Whenever we are able to nourish ourselves, we feel better. right? So now you got 4 self-care strategies. The last one I want to share with you is using a to-do list. A to-do list, yes, it helps with productivity, but it also goes into self-care because you're able to maintain consistency over what you're doing during the day and then how well you stick to it. That can then help us feel better about ourselves and our productivity, as well as our self-esteem, our self-worth, and self-confidence. My encouragement here would be to look at your to-do list with kindness. Look at it with baby steps. Put on there items like wake up with a good mood. Give yourself space to heal and to feel. Take a hot shower, brush your teeth. Right? They don't have to be these giant tasks. Climb Mount Everest, great. If we're going to do that, but it doesn't have to be something that big. It's your life, my friends. Right? You're the boss here. You lead the way. So on your to-do list, what needs to go on there? On mine, I share as an example, I like to put on make my bed. For me, it just makes me feel better. I completely get that it's going to get messy again later on when I jump on there. But it's something that I put it on my to-do list, and then it gets done, and I feel good about it. And then I can look at my to-do list. And it creates this feeling of accomplishment, and that's self-care. That's like this self-care of self-soothing. My self-esteem gets really nourished. My self-confidence, my self-worth. All of those 3 selves, they all get supported there. So I want you to think about what goes on your to-do list, and consider not always putting something that's, this gigantic leap. Give yourself tiny leaps. So I hope that these 5 self-care strategies were helpful to you. Like, subscribe, share the channel with anybody you think that would receive support. I appreciate your time. I do. I appreciate sharing this space with you. It is certainly an honor to be here and to connect with you. I hope that you have an amazing day, my friends.